Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering. Hello and welcome to this revved up episode of Classic Restos, and on this week's show it's a speedy one. But before I show you any more, it's time for you to go and buy some stuff. It's thanks to Shannons. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannons Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. Yes, I thought on today's show that I'd give you an opportunity for your favourite recliner chair at home to go up and down through the gears as I bring you this. Welcome to the 2016 Winton Festival of Speed and the out of focus shot in the background. The Winton Festival of Speed returns for its 7th year, featuring a large array of historic machinery ranging from the 40s right through to the 1990s. As race legend Dick Johnson once quoted, "Racing at Winton is like running a marathon around your clothesline." So as this 3-kilometre circuit in national configuration winds itself around the paddocks located near Benalla, just off the Hume Highway in Victoria, the circuit has been established and loved by many for over 40 years and plays host to motorcycle, motor car and supercart racing, as well as having vehicle product testing facilities. At the top of the list is the new Just Cars Touring Car Cup for Group N historic touring cars. Now this little ball terror of a race is a 50-kilometre hang on to the seam of your pants deal, where all the old cars that apparently didn't like going around corners are made to. There's the iconic muscle cars of the 1970s, such as Mustangs and Falcon GTHOs, Chevy Camaros, Valiant Chargers and Holden Monaros, all competing against smaller and more nimble cars of the era, such as the Tirana XU1s, Ford Escorts and Alfa Romeo GTVs. And this year is a first for the festival. The mighty HQ Holdens will make an appearance, with the class representing one of Australia's longest standing one-make series. It's one huge event for spectators and for you at home as well. Let's go take a closer look. Moving through the 2016 Winton Festival of Speed, we have Craig Miles. How you doing, Craig?
Good, Fletch. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Beautiful 1972 VH Charger. Now, this car holds its own, right?
It does, absolutely. It can hang it in there with the V8s. Some of the really big horsepower V8s we struggle a bit with, but, you know, it certainly holds its own, yeah, for sure.
If there's a car that's a thorn in the side to the V8s, it would have to be the 265 Charger. Now, you're running just over 400 horsepower out of this 265, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got about 410 horsepower, and it's really great off the mark. So when the red lights go out, that's when it really gives the V8s a bit of a scare.
What ratio are you running in rear gears?
We've got the 345 diff in it.
Yep.
So, and it runs the single rail gearbox.
To think too that back in the time, 265 factory with the V8 with triple Webers, 305 horsepower in the E49s, a few little tweaks. I mean, these things, they really revved incredibly well, didn't they?
They really did, yeah. We're getting this thing to rev up to about 7,000 revs, and you know it's revving at that. That's a lot for a 6-cylinder, but yeah, it's a great fun to drive, and yeah, it's a great event.
Not a silly question, but at $7,000, has power just dropped off by then?
It's dropping off. It really is about 6.8 when it was on the dynos. 6.8 is kind of where it's at its absolute peak. They're really talky motors, the Hemis, so you don't need to sort of, it really produces a lot of torque at sort of 6,000 onwards.
They've got that harmonic too at $6,000, don't they? So you've got to do 59 or 61, right?
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. So, we're just trying to keep it a bit more in the 61 than the 59.
Gearbox is interesting too, still running the Borg Warner single rail. I mean, what an awesome box they are.
They are amazing. It's a bulletproof box, an old box, but it just, it's a great, it's like a Massey Ferguson gearbox. It just hangs in there. Considering all the power it's got, it's great.
I mean, when you look at to the likes of up against a top loader, I mean, it might be flimsy by comparison, but it's just incredible how well those gearboxes do hang in there when they're driven right, which, well, that might be a bit to be said here for Craig. You pedal this old girl around the track very well, mate.
Oh, thanks very much, Fletch. I try my hard. I've had an 18-month break, so I'm a little bit rusty, but as the weekend goes on, I hope to get more in the groove with how the car's feeling and how to drive it.
A bit of your history, Craig. How competitive has the car been and where have you raced? What have you won?
Well, it's been a competitive car. The first couple of years I was pulling my hair out. I think that's why I'm grey now.
He's got helmet hair. But that's all right because that's proof that you've been working.
Yeah, absolutely. Or stressing over the car. But the first couple of years it gave us a bit of grief. But in 2014 we had a great year. We raced at Bathurst. We won the Victorian State Championship in this car. And that's mixed in with all the big cars, small cars and everything. So it was a state champion car. And yeah, we've had a race win here at Winton, only one. It's been a little bit of a bogey track for me, but it likes tracks like this with corners, and Phillip Island especially, we do all right down there too. So yeah, it's had a bit of success.
Good on you, Craig. I think it's a good way to start the show with a bit of Mopar. I mean, I get a lot of requests from Facebook and people send emails. Everyone loves their Mopars. Yeah. Great way to start today's episode. Now, run well this weekend, mate. I know that you will.
I will. I will be doing my best for the Mopar fans, and 6 in lines, no crime.
There, I like that. And thanks for being on this episode of Classic Restos. Good on you, Craig.
Good on you, Fletch.
Okay. Now, sit in your favourite chair and check out some footage from the master, Craig Miles, and his 72 VH Charger. You're watching the 2016 Winton Festival of Speed, and you're watching it first on Classic Restos. Back with more right after this.
I spend a lot of time out here. The RT Charger's the real deal. An E49. Remember A-Charger? I've always got projects on the go, so Shannon's laid-up cover helps protect my restorations. I'm Mopar through and through. It's a passion Shannon's understands. I wouldn't insure my cars and bikes with anyone else.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
Hare & Forbes Machinery House has been family owned and operated for over 85 years, and it's easy to see why. And with a range like this, you cannot go wrong. Planning on welding? Look at these welding tables and clamps, air compressors and different air tools, sandblasting cabinets, through to spray guns. Everyone is welcome at Machinery House, and they're also open Saturday mornings. Their range of machine tools are workshop tested. There are competitive freight rates around Australia, and you can buy online at machineryhouse.com.au. So remember, Hare & Forbes has the range. Moving through, as we do, got to move through here. What a place this is, Stuart.
True, it's a fantastic event. This is probably my 5th year here. Last year wasn't so successful. I had a bit of engine dramas on the Friday practice, so I went home early, but the year prior I came first in regularity. So,
mate, it must be great driving this big coupe around. There's something about the big fat Ford coupes. They are just awesome machines. They were finished nice in their day, bordering luxury in some ways. They were just a very, very smart car. Here we have a 1975, the end of the XBs. Tell us about the car and what's it like out on the track.
The car's terrific. It basically evolved from a street car. I bought probably 12 years ago. We used to do some just club sprint events here. Used it a couple of times as a street car, and it's pretty much evolved from there. And in about 2007, I've always been a huge Allan Moffatt fan. Yep. His cars have always been fantastically presented, and being a coupe lover, figured I've got to do a replica of something to honour him, and so this is what I ended up choosing, mainly because I had the wheels already, and I thought, well, we'll just have to paint them gold, and so I've got part of the car there and the shape.
Stuart, I still get goosebumps when I look on YouTube at Moffat's run in 78 at 151 miles an hour down Conrod. He was the fastest man at Bathurst in 78, and he had his share of hard luck as well, but he really pedalled the Fords very well. You've gone to the attention to detail here with his name on the door.
Yeah, that's right. I think basically the car's done as livery as 1975, how he ran it at Bathurst. It had different variant guises through the year with sponsorship. Sometimes it ran fairly plain. But basically, through the Man Champs, it sort of changed. But I loved it as it was presented in 1975 at Bathurst, with a vision against the L34 Tiranas. So it's just great. And it enables me to also be involved in things like Muscle Car Masters up at Eastern Creek and other events, and I think it's just a beautiful colour scheme that it was.
Stuart, tell us about the car in terms of the engine here. We've got the big 351 Cleveland up front there. Specs wise, what is actually done? How much horsepower are you making out of this particular engine?
Okay, it's in the high 500s. I think it was dying at around 590. It's actually a stroke, so it's a 383. 4V cast iron heads, so pretty much the same as what they ran in the day. I run an E85 fuel, so that was mainly for helping it cool, because our Clevelands like to run a bit hot.
Suspension wise, Stuart, what have you done there in terms of setting up the car?
I run adjustable lower control arms, which was something that broke on the car in 1975 about at lap 109, and that's mainly because I run a radial tyre to give a lot more negative camber. Yep. And that helps it sort of turn in a lot better. And springs, 1,000-pound springs, Coney shockers. Yep. I've got a Detroit locker, 3.9 diff. I run a 5-speed Tremac in it, mainly for the big circuits like Phillip Island. The 4-speed, you're really wringing its neck, so the 5th gear.
I'm glad you said that, because I was about to say, I bet you're running a top loader.
I used to and loved it, but get to Phillip Island with that dish ratio, and so to save changing diff centres, I thought I'll put the Tremac in.
Good on you, Stuart. Well, once again, here's some footage of Stuart out on the track, mate. run well this weekend, have some fun and look after the big girl. Try not to put a scratch on it.
Good on you. Thanks, Fletch.
No worries,
Thank
mate.
you. Cheers, mate.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
All right,
Bye.
mate. Stay in your favourite chair. Have a look at this. Time now for a Holden on today's show. Has to be a HQ, representing the HQ class. And we have Andrew McLeod. How you doing, Andrew?
Good, thanks, Fletch.
So, mate, I've got to say, I think since HQ racing began, I don't think there's one HQ left in any paddock in Australia.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think we've scrounged them out from everywhere we can find them. We've used quite a lot of parts, but there's still a few around we can find here and there to keep us on the track, that's for sure.
Andrew, how long has the HQ class been running now?
It's around 28 years. I think it's coming up to the 30th year in 2018. I might be wrong, but around then it started in Tassie, and they're going to have a reunion down there for the start of it.
That's amazing. I would not have thought 28 years. Time just flies. Interesting class too. 202 red engines. Now, what are you allowed actually to do to the 202s? You're quite limited, right?
Yeah, we are. It is fairly controlled. The idea is to keep it affordable, so the engines themselves are fairly standard. We've got a CC rule that we're allowed to go to in compression wise. We run a cast piston, standard rods and crank. Heads are fairly standard rockers, not allowed to port them or anything like that. And standard manifold, single barrel carbies. Exhausts we're allowed to are open, we can do a little bit with, but overall very controlled. They're sealed engines, so keeps it all fair and keeps the racing close.
Andrew, the HQ class, you guys are up there with some of the old V8 times around Bathurst. Now, we know the 202 red engines aren't putting out the power of those Bathurst engines back in the 70s, the V8s. So what does it come down to? Is it suspension, brakes, tyres?
Yeah, probably a bit of everything. I suppose we've got these days better tyre technology to back in those days. Probably the track surfaces are much better today to what they were running around on back in them days. I suppose overall just the technology with the cars. We're still a very basic package and very basic setup, but we're probably where they were back in their days. We can only use what we can use. But yeah,
mate, great catching up with you, Andrew. And apparently you run a fairly competitive car, mate. You've got a couple of other people here that keep you honest, apparently.
Oh yeah, we're sort of going all right. We're up near the front. We've got Bruce Heinrich, who's always quick. He's on pole. I've got on the front row next to him, which is great. And the gap's not huge, so we're hoping we're going to have some pretty good competitive racing this Arvo.
Good on you, mate. Great catching up with you, Andrew.
No worries, thanks, Fletch.
No worries, mate. You're welcome. Here's a bit of in-car footage. Enjoy Andrew at the wheel. If you love your Americana, well, you can see that and a whole lot more on a Fletch tour. Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle or Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
On a Fletch tour, you don't have to worry about a thing.
I can't believe how good it's been.
Experience Route 66.
We're definitely coming back to do Route 66.
Or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
On a Fletch tour, every day just gets better and better.
You've got to do something in your life, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
There are 5 Fletch tours. See fletchtours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
Penrite, Australian made, family owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you have a restoration project, Hare and Forbes has the tools that you need. Look at these restoration products: shrinker stretchers, dollies, mallets, bead rollers, profile gauges, professional panel restoration kits, and so much more. Now I warn you, enter at your own risk because you will end up buying something. So come along to your Cap City store or browse and buy online at machineryhouse.com.au because Hare and Forbes has the range.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannons Home and Contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannons.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
Now, time for something a little different on the show. A 1962 356, a Porsche. We've got Stu. How you doing, Stu?
Well, thanks, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Enjoying yourself here at Winton?
Yes, it was a bit cool this morning, but I must say that the day has progressed nicely and it's been a wonderful day out here.
Mate, great following the 356, the Porsche. What can you tell us about this particular car?
Well, this one I bought about 20 years ago out of Las Vegas, so it was a left-hand drive when I got it. It had a 6-cylinder motor fitted to it at that time, and I got it over and we converted from left to right. It's done 12 Targa Tasmanias, it's done high country, it's done a lot of rallies and a lot of runs around tracks like Winton.
What size engine out back?
It's got a 2.5 litre in it. Originally it had 2 litre, but the one I've got in it now is a 2.5 litre, and it's a twin plug motor, so it's a motor that revs out very freely and nicely. It's well geared. 5-speed box. It's got disc brakes all around, and it's a pretty comfortable car to drive.
Bit of fun, mate. Keeps you young.
Keeps me young, and I tell you what, I'm 70 plus GST.
There you go. like the GST. That means he does a baz on himself every quarter.
I should do as well, Fletch.
Now, very rounded, styly car, the 356. Very, Carmen gear, all in that type of era, isn't it? Back then.
Well, of course, the car was penned by Ferry Porsche. And the first ones of these were built in 1948. The first two to come into Australia went to Hamilton's, and Norman Hamilton got the franchise for Porsche by being in Austria when they were road testing those cars. And he ordered from the Porsche executives that were driving those two cars, the first two right-hand drive cars that were built. So the first coupe and cabriolet that were ever built in right-hand drive came to Australia.
What an information source. I mean, Fletch is just continually educated, hanging around people like this. Stu, great catching up with you. Time to tackle your son now, Alexander. He can tell us about his Porsche.
Well, he's a little bit quicker than me, and he's a lot younger, of course.
Good day, mate. Thanks for chatting.
Nice to talk to you.
Time for Alex now, 1969 Porsche. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great, thanks, Fletch. And you?
Good. This is awesome here. What a wonderful track here at Winton.
Look, it's a really technical track. I think the interstaters come here and they need to sort of learn the technicalities of a whole bunch of different lines you can take right through the complex up the back.
What can you tell us about your 69?
Oh, look, my 69, we actually bought the car. My father and I bought the car around about 2007, and it sat idle there for a number of years because I was competing with another car, a 1967 model 2-litre car. And then that got probably a little bit too valuable, so we decided to bring that back to a road car. This had been sitting in the shed, and we thought, okay, time for that to become a race car.
Isn't it good how you can just make these things relive, just create, make them live again, and on you go?
Absolutely. So we've been running this now for the last couple of years, sorting out a few little issues and teething issues, but we're getting there.
So out in the field, how do you pedal along in the pack? You up there?
Yeah, look, the old car was right up the front, and it's probably taken me a little bit longer to get used to the new car. A couple of small differences between the 67 and 69 models. But now we qualified in the 7th this weekend for the first race, and hope to be up the pointy end by the end of the day.
How does it drive as a car? Does it remind you of 1969 every time you get in it?
I was born in 77, so I couldn't tell you about 69. But look, as far as the car's concerned, being a small capacity car, it's 2-litre, so you need to keep the revs up. It means mid-corner speed, trying to keep the thing wound up, because as soon as it comes off cam, then it's all over, especially with the big V8s there.
Do you feel good when you come up on the big cars and you get them under brakes?
Oh, it's the best feeling ever.
Thank God for brakes, huh?
And brakes are good, and brakes are very good when they work.
Alex, thank you very much. Now, you've got some in-car footage as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Generally keep in-car footage from every race, so post them all up on YouTube and bore people to death, so it's great.
Good, mate. Nice meeting you.
Thanks so much.
All right, and let's take a look at this and let's see how good Alex goes around the track. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, mate.
Now, I hope you've really enjoyed this week's episode of Classic Restos, the 2016 Winton Festival of Speed. And I'm sure you'll agree that those drivers drove their pants off. And as a TV presenter, I worked my pants off. Now, until next week, no matter where you're watching Classic Restos from, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. Gone. I worked them off. They're gone. I don't know. I don't know where they're gone. Pants are gone.
You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/ClassicRestosTV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au.
Classic Restos, proudly brought to you by Shannons, where you can be part of the Shannons Club. Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, Pace Farm, and Duncan Foster Engineering.